and a few. We living in a century where we living on lies. Society said the girls and we have to comply. We gonna play with you once we don't get reviews. Not for we get broken and we fall into the news. But they tell all the brothers say we gonna take a stand. Represent hope, living in the brand. We gonna take a brother hand in hand. Them power elevate every boy, every man. Let me, I just want to reveal my life slowly. Look close, you DJ. Turn that music up, yes, turn it up louder. Never make it stop, take the message to the border. This is how we do it, cause we talk the truth to power. Walking in the spirit, walking in the water. Happy that we blessed. Full 100, walking in forgiveness. Full 100, healing from disease. Full 100, totally redeemed. Full 100, strength to the youth. Full 100, friendly with the truth. Full 100, free from oppression. Full 100, are we on a mission? Full 100. They call me Mr. Diligent. When me ways are please the Lord, I'm dining with the president. Thankful for the warriors who praise me through the testament. Praise me through the testament. Praise me through the testament. Everything we put we have to doing it full 100. Time to praise the Lord, we say we praising him full 100. Working in the ministry, we working it full 100. Working it full 100. Working it full 100. Everything we put we have to doing it full 100. Time to praise the Lord, we say we praising him full 100. Working in the ministry, we working it full 100. Working it full 100. Working it full 100.
Lord, I'm letting you know my name. You set my heart aflame. You set my feet on a solid rock to stay. I'm glad I made this choice. You've given me a voice, and now I can rejoice.
Welcome to Mike at Night. Thank you very much for those of you all have been on and waiting. I see some of you all have become better in your attendance in this class. Wonderful, good to see you all. Let me acknowledge you one time. Let me say Joanne Benjamin, good evening, nice having you. Thank you very much for your commendation. They said continue doing what I love doing. I love doing this. I love helping couples. I love sitting down with people, talking about the issues and helping them unravel. I get my greatest fulfillment when I see relationships mended and marriages brought back together. That is the greatest reward I get from it. Ken Hodge, good evening to you all. And to all on this train, all the rock and come in, man, rock and come in, have a seat. We're going to start the program and we're going to ask you all to be able to make sure you share the live. Press share. Get it on your own page. Also, if you have not liked my page as yet, please like it so that you'll know when we go live. It is easier for me to be able to just go live and you all just get notified than I know some people have asked me to share with them certain links and so on, but I really don't have that kind of skill sets and so on. So once you just press live, hey, if you're on YouTube, all you've got to do is subscribe. Just press whatever it is they usually press there and become part of our YouTube channel. We are live both on YouTube and on Facebook. Edwin Tulsi, rock and come in, my boy. Joy, thank you very much for joining us. All of you who have been here regularly almost every single week. Appreciate that so very much. Alright, did I tell you all it's my birthday coming up? The 20th. Don't forget that. The 20th, I would be chalking up another year in this good God earth that we have here. I could tell you, I have a good run so far. God has blessed. God has blessed me. God has blessed my family. God has blessed all that I do, and I really thank Him for that. But coming closer, you're going to hear about that. The 20th. Okay. Before we get going, I need to recommend this book that I want you all to make sure you get, From Courtship to Marriage. That book is going to walk you through each step. It is not a long book. I know that some people don't like reading those big thick books. It is a short book, but it is packed with good stuff. And when you go inside of it, you will be able to see some of the things that you must be very conscious of as you're going through your courtship process, etc., and as you're coming out on the marriage end, as to how best to be able to make sure that that is sustainable and valuable for you. Okay, so we're talking this evening about the 7 reasons people leave relationships and then regret. These are studies that people have done, but it resonates with me because in what I do as a counselor, I find that they are so true, that people leave for these very same reasons and then regret. A lot of people who leave, even those who don't want to admit regret, you could tell that they regret having left, but they're not man enough and woman enough to know that they messed up. They messed up a good relationship. And there are some people that they have been advised, even by their spouse, let's get help, let's go to a counselor, let's do things, and they ignore that because they are standing firm. They don't see any major thing with them, and they only regret when they lose the relationship. That's too common, and unfortunately so. So we've got to find a new way of doing things. Instead of living life in hindsight, we are living life in foresight. You don't wait and then look back and say, oh, shimwats. You look forward and say, if I continue on this trajectory, I am going to regret what I'm doing. If I continue doing this, whether it is infidelity, whether it's lying, whether it's lying too much, whether it's putting people before your family and before your relationship, etc., whatever it is, if you continue on that trajectory, you'll regret. That's a given. And then you tell yourself, boy, you know, I would have lost a good relationship foolishly. Don't do that. I tell you, don't you do that at all. Alright, so let's see if we can help some of you all here tonight as we get into the discussion. Pamela Martin, welcome, come in. Nice having you. You're inside seated in the classroom nicely. Timothy, my boy, good evening. Lawrence Flement, hey, you I was looking for you because I noticed you was coming here late, Lawrence. Yeah? Walking in late and you're a man of time. What is your problem these days? Alright. Rose Petal, good evening, nice having you. Would you be 2 years old on that date? No, my boy, I wouldn't be 2 years old. Are you having a party for the listeners? Not a bad idea, Joanne. Not a bad idea. I don't know how an online virtual party will do, but we might do. We probably could have a Zoom and have all of the fans come on the Zoom and let us blag and let us put things back and forth. I think that, Joanne, I think you just trigger something there. Right? I'll consider that. Having a Zoom and then having people on that. Tell me what you think about that, Joanne, seeing that you are the one who came up with it. Avril Duncan, schoolmate, man. Good evening. Nice seeing you. Yes. Diane, my dear sweet sister. Yes, rock and come in, my love. Rock and come in. Alright, so let's see if we could cover as much grounds as we can. We're talking about people leaving relationships and then regretting it. And we're looking at some of the reasons why this happens. And as usual, I try to write down some of them so that those who lazy, not taking notes, but always asking, tell me what I said again. I'm going to give you some of them written down, and if we do have time, I may give you more than 7 of them. This is number 1. That's it there. Where is it? Hey, you see when you're on TV, you'll get this thing mixed up. Alright, yes. Emotional hijack. Emotional hijack. I don't even know if I spell hijack right. But you know what I'm talking about. Emotional hijack happens to be one of the reasons people leave relationships and then regret. What is that? What is this? This is where you make an emotional decision to walk out of the relationship during a conflict. Worst decision you could make. Because at the time that you are emotionally charged, you are driving under the influence. You are not in your right mind because you're already vexed. So you're vexed and you pack up your clothes and you leave. During that time, you are not thinking rationally. You are emotionally hijacked. It is after you cool down that you think through things more rationally. So it is better you cool down and leave the next day if you wish. But when you make decisions in haste, you shall regret in leisure. So don't make that emotional decision, even if you feel strongly about it. Even if you want to just leave and cool down, but don't leave the relationship yet. Do that if you're going to do that. Do that when you are in full control of your common sense, full control of your mental faculties. I don't know how often that we're going to say that. And particularly because women are loyal to their emotions, they make so many decisions while they're emotionally charged, thinking that the way how they feel is real. And I mentioned some of this inside of the book, From Courtship to Marriage. But it may not necessarily be real. This is what you are going through, and because you are angry and because you are in conflict mode, the prefrontal cortex that makes higher, logical and wiser decisions is not active, as well as the limbic brain, the part of the brain, and the amygdala. Well, I don't want you to get too tied up with that. The amygdala and the hippocampus stores emotional data as to how you feel and how you feel the last time something hurt you like that. Those are active, and those will trigger you when you are vexed, and they will hijack you, as it has happened to so many of us when we are vexed. So therefore, don't make those impulsive moves and so on when you are emotionally charged. Once your emotions calm down, then you realize where you are in the conflict. You realize whether this conflict is a deal breaker. Make that decision on a calm consideration, right? And this is going to help you to manage and handle the issue very, very sanely, right? So if you're going to end a relationship after a heated fight, only to realize that the person genuinely cared and the differences were solvable. It's not unsolvable. They are solvable. In most cases, they are solvable. And you recognize that just because I fell out with you or you fell out with me does not mean that we don't love each other. But because we are emotionally charged, we think we hate each other. We think that it is incompatible. We think that we are in disagreeable mode, and this disagreeable mode has no healing, no resolution, and no salvation in it. I want to dissuade you from that dogma. I want to dissuade you from that preposterous position. That is not so. You very well might be in a very good relationship, but teeth and tongue bound to meet. They will meet. And so don't ignore that fact, that because you are in a relationship with somebody else, you will have conflict. You all get me with that? Please? Please and thanks. Alright? Because that is so crucial. I want you to think of some past relationships that you've been in and some of the decisions you've made. in those past relationships, or somebody who you were with in a good relationship, but you all did not see eye to eye along the way. There are times that you have more conflicts at some period of time than other times, but that is how life is. And could you think of somebody who left you because they were angry, right? And was it because the relationship couldn't work? Think about that. All right. So emotional hijack is one. I'm going to give you 3, and then I'll look to see. Put your comments on the line. Put your feedback, whether you agree with it, whatever it is. I would be more than happy to look at them and see what you have put and to engage you on that. Okay. So number 2, reality deception. What is reality deception? Reality deception is when we perceive something as reality, but it ain't. So it is the same thing as the grass is greener on the other side. You sitting down here, you seeing the little dry grass among your grass, so you know you have some green grass, but you're seeing some dry grass. But from a distance, you're watching the grass next door, and the grass look fully green. Only when you get close and you go across there, you recognize that the grass not fully green, it have dry grass in it too. But you leave your proper grass there and may find this one with more dry grass in it. The grass ain't necessarily greener on the other side. That is a reality deception. That's what we're talking about. For those who know the story about the dog and the bone, the dog had the bone in its mouth, a nice succulent bone, went to the river, looked down in the river, saw its reflection, that there is a dog in the water with a bone. And greedy as he is, let go the bone in his mouth to grab the bone out of the dog's mouth in the water. But it was just a reflection, and lost his bone. That is what happens sometimes. You're in a good relationship, you know. Somebody in a good relationship is working, it's not perfect, because none will be perfect. And they leave their good spouse and go after a relationship with somebody else, only to recognize that this person that you are now with is no better than the one you left. In fact, may very well be worse. And then after you leave, you regret and want back your spouse. How many times people have left, start a new relationship, and end up going back to the person that they left? What does cause that? Sometimes they even marry a new person and horning the new person with the one they left because they went back to their ex. That is why never get into a relationship with somebody who's just out of another relationship. You are most likely being used to fill a void, to fill a gap. I tell it all as it is. Me and K, who vex, who lost. I tell you all. If all you don't agree with me, just tell me all you don't agree with me. Message me, WhatsApp me. If you want, you could call. Look, there's that telephone number up there, you know. Yes, there's 688. Oh, no. 868. Do I get 688? 868 480 0080. You could call me. That's also the number you could call for your counseling, by the way. Once you want serious counseling, private, confidential, and serious situations where you sit down and talk, but you don't want the set of pacifying. I'm not into the pacifying thing. I want you to look at things. I may not tell you what to do. I try to resist that. But I would ask you the hard questions for you to look at yourself and see whether you're okay with the decisions you are making and where you are going with it. One of the problems that people make when they come for counseling, they want you to spend in the counseling talking about the partner who's not in the counseling. I try not to do that. I don't want to go down that road. The person is not there. There's no need dealing with that person. When we sit down inside of a counseling session to bar talk or to go over what the other person did to you, it does not change the relationship. You know, all you did is get a chance to vent it. So we would allow a certain amount of time to talk about what you went through and so on. But we want you to start taking action. We want you to start making decisions. Because for things to change, you must change. You can't change somebody else. You have to change self. Okay? So we're very serious when we come to our counseling session. So back to the reality deception. Or I thought I forgot what I was. Reality deception is when we mistakenly think that the relationship we are in is not as good as this next relationship that I can get into. And we leave it, we go across there and regret. Right? People are not necessarily better. In the first place, when you meet somebody, they are giving you the best of themselves, image-wise. It calls presentation of self in public life. When we are presenting ourselves in public life, the person that you're seeing, you're only watching 15% of the true person. 15% is called the iceberg phenomenon. You only see 15% of the person. That pleasantry they have, that nice look and calm spirit and so on, it's 15%. When you get to know the person, they may not be like that. They may be hostile, cussbud, angry, unforgiving and all of that. But you never saw that because they're in a public space the first time you're meeting them and they're giving you the best self. You leave your good relationship and don't go on to deal with that and did not recognize you were walking into chaos. You understand me? So, give yourself a chance to recognize what you have before you go and get something else. You leave what you have and you go and buy a cutting bag. You jump out of the pot because pot hot and it land in the fire. Alright? So what happens with this one is later on they see that no relationship is perfect and that they don't have this emotional safety somewhere else necessarily, and they have shared history where you think that what I go through and this next person go through, this next person understand what I go through better and so on. Nobody have shared history. There is some differences that we experience. You went through abuse, I went through abuse, but it's not the same abuse. You went through poverty, I went through poverty, it's not the same level of poverty. So you think that this person should understand you because they went through it. In fact, that might be the person not to go with. Because if you are going to go through with somebody who is traumatized, who has issues, they go through infidelity, etc., and they are still hurting off of it, and you join them with your pain of infidelity that you experience there, you might be able to comfort each other, but then both of you all are broken. It is two broken people in the world. Isn't there a song that says, we two less broken people in this world? Well, put your comments, people. Put your comments. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. If you don't agree, feel free to say you don't agree to. Because I will tell you if I don't agree to. I ain't afraid of that. Alright? So, how many I gave you all there now? I gave you all 2. So, 3. And then we come to you. And I see what you're posting. Number 3. Let's call this one unvoiced expectations. You get into a relationship. You expected certain things. You never said a word. This is how I like. I like hugs. I like kisses, intimacy, and so on. Never said that. But you get into a relationship with somebody who does not push for hugs and things, but don't know that you want that because they didn't want it. Chances are they're giving you what they are okay with. Distance. You like to talk. You never shared that. You all don't know each other long enough. But you have expectations that you leave because you all never spoke about it. You want the person to spend money on you. Let's say you're a woman and you want the guy to spend money on you. And he got into the relationship thinking that he's going to spend money on house, furniture, things are like that. But you want it to be spent on you personally, take you on trips, take you on vacation, buy clothes for you, do your hair, etc. But you never voice that. He thinks he's doing the honorable thing as a man, and then you reject him because you feel that he has not put you as priority in his pending agenda. And then you could have it the other way around, where the man comes in it with an expectation that he never voiced. He never voiced that he has a very high sexual appetite. And you got in there and you did not know that you needed to be able to supply 2 and 3 times a day. You thought it was 2 or 3 times a week. And then find out that his appetite is like an appetite on steroids. But you all never spoke about it. Because during the courtship time, a lot of times we don't talk things futuristic. Yeah, we don't talk things that would deal with the relationship after. And then we realize at that point, this ain't working at all. So you have what we call unvoiced expectations. And when you have unvoiced expectations, when you didn't say so, you have a communication gap. The communication gap, sometimes we suppress emotional and sexual needs, and you want it. The guy may not be as sexually excited as the woman is. So the woman may have a heavy sexual appetite, and with her heavy sexual appetite, he is not into that because he's working hard, he's tired, he's busy, etc. But you never mentioned anything. You're suppressing your emotions, but in effect, it leads to what we call silent resentment. You silently resent the person because what you expected you are not getting. And there are so many times people living in relationships where there is silent resentment. They resent their spouse, they resent the relationship, they are just not happy. Can you think of it? Any of you all out there could feel me up in here? Any of you experiencing that? Yep. And so many relationships see that. So where does the regret come from? Well, what caused people to regret after? This is what we call the regret source. The regret source comes from when you later on realize that your partner wasn't the problem. Your partner just didn't know. Your partner did not know how much this means to you. You all may have mentioned it 1 or 2 times, and mention it 1 or 2 times when you're talking about having it being in a relationship. 1 or 2 times doesn't cut it. Sometimes you need to be able to talk to the person more than once for them to be able to get it, that this is a serious concern that you have, and not just a comment or a criticism on an issue. So the communication that you all had is the problem, not the relationship, not the partnership. So when you really learn to express your needs, it might be too late because things may have gone south by then. So learn to express your needs to your spouse, regardless of how you feel they will feel. Just do it in a good way. Do it in a right way. Process your thoughts to make sure you give it a good chance. All right. So, and the one who is expressive, not the one who suppress their thoughts and their feelings and so on. The one who is expressive can encourage a person. Are you okay? Is everything going good in the relationship? Are we getting along? Are you getting satisfaction in the areas of our relationship, in various areas, financially, emotionally, sexually, etc.? Just inquire to know what is going on. That bridges that communication gap that people often have. All right, so let's see what people are saying now. You all still there? I hope you are still there. Kenneth Hodge calls it showroom presentation. Right. Sandra Lamb, Guyana, in the house. Thank you very much, Sandra. Samantha, good evening. Candice Alexander, oh, you have time. Good, good, good. Nice for you to drop in. A teacher used to tell me that whenever I come late to the class, he say, Mike, so Mr. Stewart, nice for you to drop in my class. Rose Patel. I wonder what Rose was talking about. Lot. When you say that is because something must have been said. Alright, Timothy, you're coming to the virtual Zoom birthday meeting. Alright, fine. That will be nice. The birthdays are Monday. So sometime of that week, we'll do it. I will advertise it, and then we're going to hook up, and we're going to talk and blog. Let me see what else people saying here. Okay. I realize quite a bit of talk was going on there, man. Alright, some people are emotionally detached. Yes, Kenneth, you are so right. Lisa, good to see you. Lisa talks about the lack of communication, yes. And sometimes we're not comfortable in the relationship to say the things we want to say. It might be because the person we're in the relationship with is not in a space that they can hear and accept what has to be said, and they take offense to it. Or it might be the person who has to say it don't feel they have the voice, they have the will, the stamina, and the affirmed condition of self to see how they truly feel. Rose says, see why it go to ask the question in the dating friendship before relationship. That's right. That is right. And the book that I told you all about, inside of that book, talks about that whole different levels of the relationship before you actually get into a relationship with the person. And that's supposed to be able to help you to know at which point you should raise certain issues. Alright? So I will talk about that book again in just a while. Sometimes we are too tired for pillow talk. That is true. True. But we have to resolve that. Then go to bed earlier before you're really ready for bed, so that you could be able to lie down there and talk. Because the pillow talk is good because you don't have to look at each other in the eye. You could look at the ceiling. But it helps you to be able to share some stuff. So there are some good benefits of pillow talk. It connects you. Wayne Hackett, good evening. Hope that you're feeling better, my boy. Nice having you. Alright. So, let me, for those who joined late, I said this book is a short book because some people don't like reading long. From courtship to marriage. It tells you the stages of courtship, the stages that you will be in before you even start to court, because there must be some things that take place before you actually do courtship, right? And so those preconditions must exist. But by the time you're ready in courtship, you would have had enough information and understand the person enough where their head is and where they are going for you to actually say, okay, we're in a relationship. And still that's not marriage. And then you get into the marriage. There are 5 steps that I wrote about in this book. Those 5 steps you need to know. And then after the marriage, there are things in it that you are to expect, which is natural in almost every marriage situation. You get that? Alright, want to get that? We good. Alright. So let's get back now to or discussion on the various aspects of the 7 things that cause people to regret in this relationship. Right. Let's go to number, I think it's number 4. Right. Misplaced, where the crisis is misplaced. What do I mean by that? Hold on to your seats there. I know what I talk about. The crisis is misplaced or misinterpreted. There is a conflict that is in the relationship. There is a conflict that is taking place. But some people don't recognize that the conflict is a personal conflict they are going through. And they ascribe their personal conflict to the relationship crisis, making it feel as though this is a relationship issue when it's a personal crisis you're going through. So, you may have a family issue with your parents, with your brother, your sister, whatever it is, but you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage with somebody else and so on. But you are stressed out with that. You might be stressed out with something on your job, sir. And that is a personal crisis you're experiencing on your job. You were due for promotion, you ain't get it. You were due for increase, you ain't get it. You are going through some problems with your supervisor that you can't seem to handle. That is your personal crisis. But we transpose that and make it a relationship crisis because we allow it to spill over. So you're going through that and you blaming the person for not understanding what you're going through, for not being sympathetic and empathetic enough and so on. But it's a personal thing. This does not destroy the relationship, but you're leaving the relationship because you don't feel you have the support of the person in your personal crisis. And you interpret that this is grounds to leave the relationship. No, separate the two. Your personal issues that you are going through, do not let them spill over into your marriage and your relationship. You hear that? What is going on in your parents' house? What is going on with your brothers and sisters and your cousins, your nenen, your compare, and your pet dog that you leave behind? Left that out of this relationship. Don't make it destroy your relationship. Separate them. And when you're coming to talk to your spouse, share what you're going through with your spouse. Don't quarrel with your spouse as though the issue is theirs. There is something that we call in defense mechanism, displacement. Whenever we are not okay with ourselves, whenever we are not okay as a person and whole, there are things that we're going through. It is possible to displace what we are going through, where we are going through it, and superimpose it somewhere else. So I having problems with my boss. I and the boss quarreling there, but I can't beat the boss and I can't tell the boss what I want to say. But when I come home, I rough up my wife. That is displacement. That is what we're talking about. Taking a personal crisis and making it a relationship crisis. And she wants to know, well, what I do? You see, because you're talking to her hostile, you're talking to her and you know there are some people actually boast about that kind of person. You see me? I vex today, let nobody else come across me today, You see, that is a personal issue. And you are telling people, beware, because you're going through a personal crisis. That is toxic. That is bad. No. Separate that. You can't be vexed with somebody else and go and kick your dog. That is displacement. You are putting it into a place that it is not supposed to be. Alright? So here's the regret. Later on, the people, when they see that they project it, because that's also another one, they project what they are going through on other people. So you're in a bad mood and you went to work in a bad mood and put everybody in the office in a bad mood. You jump in the taxi and you start your barrage of complaints and you put everybody in the taxi in a bad mood. You come home from what you went out through down the road and you come home with your bad mood. That's what we're talking about. Projection. Or in some cases displacement. So that you project, that unhappiness that you put onto your partner, later on when you calm down, you'll recognize that they wasn't deserving of that. And you want back the relationship, but that person may be fed up that whenever you going through things that they have to suffer for you. You know how many women are abused because some men have been going through issues that they can't control, that they cannot manage, that has nothing to do with her. Right? He goes down and he drinks and he comes home and he beats his wife. For every little thing. Or you shout at the children. Or you beat the children for simple things. There are so many women who also do that. They are going through their own emotional issues. Don't talk about when they're going through PMS, PMZ and PMW during the month. And they feel, because they're going through that, it's the man's fault. She feels she has right to talk to him as she likes, insult him as he likes, because she's going through the time of the month. No, sir. I say, nay. Don't do that. All you get me? Edwin Toolsy, that's right. Let them leave the issues where they belong. Why should there be a need to send either party on an all-expense paid guilt trip? Can that be acceptable? I'm not too sure what is an all-expense paid guilt trip, eh? Let me see what my friend Lisa telling me now. Most times we transfer our personal conflict to others, which makes it difficult not be biased. Alright, okay. Yeah. We do that transference bit of our personal issues. So that we've got to be careful about that, because when the person gets fed up and we lose the relationship, we will regret. We will regret that we put them through all of that. And sometimes we are not even aware that we're putting the person through all of that. Yes, Jillian, PMW. Yeah? Because like they're going through this thing. Very expensive. Risking the relationship. Alright. Let me see the time there now. I want to make sure I get through with the 7. As I had promised, if we finish it in time, I'll go to more than 7. If not, then we'll have to do it in another segment. Alright, so where we are now? We are number 4. Yes. Been misinterpret the thing. So let me see if I could put up number 5 there now. Number 5. Intimacy issues. Sometimes that's a problem, and then after we leave, we regret we leave because it may not have been such a major issue in the first place. There are some people with intimacy issues. They have a difficulty in surrendering their heart. They are fearful of vulnerability. They may have had their heart broken in the past, or broken so often, or it may not even be a lover relationship broken. They may have daddy issues if it is a woman, where you never was close to your father, and so you have daddy issues, so you can't now extend intimacy to a man because you don't know what it's like. Or the girl may have gone through incestuous relationships forced upon by relatives, so she does not have or cannot develop this closeness of intimacy. She would have sex, but she would not be intimate, closely affectionate towards the person. But not only the woman, the man could also have daddy issues, that he never saw what pure love is of a father to a child, never saw what pure love was. He never saw his parents intimately connecting and affectionate towards each other. It was just transactional relationship he saw. And having now seen that, he does not know, and he does not have in his bank vault intimacy as a part of his DNA. So he's quite prepared to have sex, and after he's had sex, he zips up his pants and he's gone. And then she says, why doesn't he hang around and kiss me? Why doesn't he hang around and hug me? He doesn't have it. So there's a vulnerability issue and an intimacy issue. So sometimes this deep emotional closeness creates a fear for these people, and they lose that, as though they're losing their sense of independence, as though if I follow through in this feeling that I'm having of wanting to be close and wanting to be around the person and miss the person, that if they do something they can hurt me and I may not recover. So there are people going through that, and some people have not resolved it, and then after the marriage or the relationship breaks up because you could not reach the heart of the person, then they regret that they did not manage the issues or got help in time, because some of these things require you to get help. You cannot self-medicate everything that you're going through. So what the regret area? So after leaving, people recognize that emotionally they need that safety. That emotional safety and true intimacy is something that they actually want and desire, but never allow themselves to explore it. And so they leave the relationship, or the person leaves them because they desire intimacy and you are not able to give it. But now that they are gone, you wish you had it. And so that is why we have to now try and help people to learn to develop that sense. Alright? So I hope you all understand that one here. So let's go on to the next one. We're making good time. We're making good time, man. This one is chaos versus stability. One of the reasons that people leave, and let me explain it. If you have somebody grow up in a home where chaos is the order of the day, quarrel, bad talk, malign, fight, cuss, curse, and that is what has been going on in that home that you grew up in as a child, you are likely to go into a relationship and chaos is normal for you. You're following me, people? Chaos is normal because you see that, experience that almost every day of your life. In fact, calm discussion is foreign. You don't know what it is. So every time you get vexed with somebody, you have to create chaos, because it takes nothing out of you to create chaos, but it is a pressure on the person who may not have come from a relationship that was calm, stable, and communicative. That is a big issue. So whenever calmness comes for a person who has existed in chaos, they perceive this calmness as boredom and sometimes loneliness. They're not getting the person triggered, because for them to get the person engaged, they need to raise some issue to get a quarrel, and that quarrel gives them feedback, that gives them that kind of current to say, well, yes, the person hearing me, because they're quarreling back. But if the person does not argue back, they feel lost. And I'm saying this not because I'm creating this out of my head. They have done the research and shown that people in chaotic relationship, unfortunately, it's not that they want to mash up the relationship, but that's the only way they know to express themselves. But it is not acceptable. But they need help. So they destroy their own relationships, leave that relationship, or the person leaves them, and they enter a new relationship, and that relationship goes south the same way. And after 3 or 4 tries in the relationship, they say they're not lucky with relationship. It's not that you're not lucky with relationship. You need to change. Because can't work. You see? So, some people will instigate, trigger the person to respond emotionally and hostile to them, because that is what gives them fire, source, right? So they consider it boredom or undervalue a supportive partner. So this partner wants to support you, wants to be there for you, wants to help you along in the line. But because the person never got that from the family of origin, everybody abandoned them, everybody left them there. They don't put value on the person who's now supporting them. They even put suspicion on it as to why they're supporting them. Because they must be want something back. They're probably not genuine. They're probably giving it and then will raise it as an issue later. Or they'll go and tell people how much support they give me. So they're in a chaotic situation. And that chaotic situation creates this toxicity in the relationship. And then they leave, or the person leaves. But then when you get accustomed, and then you sit down by yourself after having left a relationship, there are some people who come and beg back for the relationship because they recognize that they need somebody to balance them off, to bring down the calm in their life. Right? They realize how much emotional labor and trust exist in the relationship that they lost. But now that they have left there and they get into a new relationship, let's say they get into a relationship where the person also came from a toxic, hostile, chaotic environment. You think that working? Never. That ain't gonna work either. That is where fight and violence and abuse go on steroids. So that's not gonna work either. Alright. So I think that is number 6. Let me give one more and then we right down to the end of the hour, so we could only do 7. We could probably consider continuing it next week, Thursday. Number 7. External influences. What do I mean by external influences? Where you're taking too much old talk from people. Every time somebody talks something outside, it's as though you run with it. You take it. You know, somebody tell me that they see you so and so, that they do you so and so. Oh heaven, there are some people they love talk. I suspect, I watch something, you know, and I does never be wrong. But so if I feel something, I does always be right. And you base your relationship on hunches. So you see those external things and some of those internal feelings and so on that have no basis puts pressure on the relationship. And there are some people who you work with, some people who you line with, some people who go to church with you, who bring in you old talk that you do not verify, and you don't ask them the deep questions as to why they're telling you this, where they get it from, and why is it they didn't respond to the people who tell them that. You haven't gone through all of that, you know, but you take chain up, you take talk, and you take all kind of things. Because people will see something and perceive something that may not be true. It may not be reality. It is their perception that they're bringing in. And some people do that and make it a crisis in their relationship based on what other people say. Friends, family, and society. There are some people who don't want you in the relationship you're in. They want you out. They probably feel it's too good for you. Me, I know. But they will tell you certain things and then you go and act upon it. And I have met so many people who had a good relationship and was sharing with other people how good the relationship going. And the person is going to tell them, you might find out somebody will tell them something like, hey, You go blindly there. Them only treating you nice because they're hiding all the things that they're doing behind your back, you know. Why? They may have had a sour relationship. They may have had a certain experience in their relationship. They're not going to take to listen to you boast about yours. They want you to join them. And then you start to tell yourself, I feel like there must be people taking me for fool. So you start to become suspicious. You start to look out for things now. When nothing was wrong with what you were going through all the time. You just had a very nice spouse. But they now make that niceness in the spouse look as though they're trying to blindside you. And before you know it, you don't appreciate what you have. Some of these guys have some real nice women. And when I say nice, I'm not necessarily talking about looks, because some of them also have some good looking women. But I'm talking about committed women, caring women, loving women. And some of these women have some very dedicated men, hard working men, loyal men. And each of them taking old talk from people who have nothing to do more than to get into your business. Alright? So, the regret comes later on when they realize that the outside person did not truly understand the relationship that you have, the depth of the relationship, and the privacy issues that you all need to keep to yourselves. And don't allow third parties to be coming in. Facebook is not a nice place. You have no friends on Facebook. Who is your friend on Facebook? That every time something happens to you and your spouse, you have to go to Facebook and set up people who don't care two cahoot about you and your family life. But they will have something to say about it. And it annoys me when I see people do that. It shows the way how we are so lame duck. Lame duck in our thinking. To think that I will have a problem with my wife and I come on Facebook to tell you people about it when me and my wife make up. What is happening with all of that report that was on Facebook then now? Are you erasing that? After you read it already and save it on your phone to remind me about it, and then turn around and tell me why I stupid to take her back after all of that? All you must be crazy. What is he thinking? What's wrong with people? You understand me? Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. Let me see what all they're saying, eh? Yes, chef, they're taking chain up. Rose says good qualities, guys and ladies. Yeah, it has some good men and some good women out there that we hurting, and we giving up some good people that we with to go and land up with some riffraff. Relying on rum shop talk and them say, him say, them say. That's the thing we used to say. Hey, my girl Charmaine boy, you're walking in here when you want now. Anyway, but I know where you just be. You will be surprised to know that people who grew up in a home where there was no chaos, how chaotic they could become. Yes. That's the next topic that we could talk about there, Charmaine. I think you're right there. You grow up in a home where you didn't have all of that, but it seems as though you're looking for war. Because there's something that happened in between that home and this new relationship that caused that. Maybe Lisa could help us to unravel that one. And look at Lisa. Lisa said dysfunctional upbringing is a recipe for dysfunctional relationship. It is the baseline information they have to work with. Absolutely. They may have problems where their intimacy expectation is not in line with the intimacy reality. That was one of the things later on that will come about, where there is a difference in the weight of relationship issues between people. Probably next week Thursday we'll deal with that. But what Lisa is saying is that the intimacy expectation of one person is a different intimacy reality of somebody else, and you could have that serious issue there. Rosie says she's not lovey-dovey and kissy-kissy, but practical show action of care. Alright, so you are demonstrative. Alright. Right, and your spouse must know that. In order to know that's how you manifest. That's how you show up. Yeah. Agreed. So, so as we said, for those who came on late, I want you to, Amazon has this book, From Courtship to Marriage. You go on Amazon, you put it up, and you put From Courtship to Marriage, Michael A. Stewart, or A.T. Stewart, then you will get me. And I said it's a short book, so you'll be able to finish, read that out easily, but it is power packed with information in it. I made sure that you got enough research, enough background information from reputed people to be able to help you with that. Just go to Amazon. Yeah, it's also in Kindle, by the way, so you could just download it on your Kindle and get that tonight itself, right? Or you could order the copies. I should have copies in it in a while for those people I would meet from time to time who may want to purchase it. Okay, so that brings us down to the end of the program. I want to thank you all very much for coming on and your loyalty. Just remember, some people have said that we could have the virtual birthday party for where we just get on Zoom in a more interactive space. Anybody would be allowed to come on and we just talk for about an hour or so. I will tell you the date on it as we plan that. Lisa said some people are jealous of good relationship. Yep, that is true. All right. God bless you all. Always happy to have you all, and look forward to seeing you next week Thursday. Love you all.